This episode of the Save Par Golf Podcast is brought to you by Odin.
Welcome to the Save Par Golf Podcast, where two average golfers talk about golf and things. I'm your host, Derek.
I'm your host, Dominic.
We are currently on episode 46, and we have a lot to cover. Tony Finau wins back-to-back PGA tournaments. Henrik Stenson wins the third LIV golf event and won a smooth $4 million. And lastly, we will answer some fan questions. Dom, episode 46, here we are.
You know, I thought we were still on 45 up until like 10 minutes ago.
I had to double-check myself. It was like, it's crazy. Like, once you hit a certain number, it's kind of a blur.
Well, I think on my end, somebody's like, hey, I can't wait to listen to episode 45. And I was like, same, I can't wait to record it.
And it's already out. So
Yeah.
listen to episode 45 if you haven't already. So this is 46. Tony Finau, back-to-back wins. He is on a roll. Literally on a roll.
Good for Tony. Good for Tony.
Tony wins the 3M Open, which we discussed last week, 17 under, and now he just won the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which finished at 26 under. I mean, he was kind of in this.
I think that's the record.
Yeah,
I think he set the record.
Won by 5 strokes.
Yeah.
So he was, I don't think he really had any pressure for the most part. So
that's a very safe and comfortable lead.
I think Tony Finau has been one of those golfers that we've all been wondering, like he has all the talent.
Mm-hmm.
We've just been really waiting for him to pass that threshold because I feel like he's always in contention, but he just hasn't been able to finish. And now he's finished 2 in a row. Man, I don't see the guy stopping at this point. The guy is just dialed in.
That's actually one of the questions. Like, I know I want to try to work in some of the fan questions that kind of as we go. Back Nines only asked, why is Tony Finau LIV Golf's biggest winner?
I like that.
It's interesting because at first I thought about it. I was like, well, yeah, I guess if he goes to LIV, you're getting a guy coming off back-to-back wins. But then I also thought about it. He's winning because LIV took Dustin Johnson, took Bryson, took Brooks, took all these other guys. I don't know if that's what they're asking. Obviously, they are friends of the pod. You know, shout out to them.
That's a good take.
I don't know what they're asking, but man, Tony Finau.
He's dialed. And maybe that is their question. Maybe that is the point they're making, that some of these guys are leaving.
Yeah.
He's been so close to finishing, and yet he just hasn't been able to close the door. But now some of these guys have left, and it'd be a huge signing. I wonder how much, if they are trying to sign him, I'm sure they are. I wonder how much he's getting in the bag.
So I guess if Back Nines only, if you guys do listen when this comes out, if you want to like let me know if I answered it properly.
If not, though, I like that take.
Yeah. Because I feel like I don't think he's a bad golfer by any means, by any stretch of the word. He's just never been able to close out tournaments. That's always been his kind of, I don't want to say struggle, but that's something that he's always kind of had looming over him. So I think with LIV taking some of these guys out of the equation, maybe it helps Tony Finau that way, which in that case, I would make him a winner for 2 in a row.
He's a guy that you just like always want to root for. He's always smiling.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost several close tournaments.
Mm-hmm. He's always
heads up, just smiling, and he doesn't really have anything bad to say. So
my favorite moment it's just when there's that part 3 contest when he was running, slips, and then pops his dislocated ankle back in, and then he runs up, and I was like, that is gnarly.
That looked way worse than what apparently was.
Yeah,
it looked like he literally was,
because he just kind of like booped. And then the ankle is back in, and it was super easy. And I was like looking at it, and I was like, that's kind of gross. Like that's super gnarly. But it was cool to see just like the happiness. And that was cool to see that game translate back-to-back wins, back-to-back weeks. I don't know how many golfers have won back-to-back events like that, but good for Tony.
Absolutely. Now the question is he going to LIV? Only time will tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd imagine they'd want anybody that they can get that has a name, right?
Especially that's on the PGA Tour that has a name. Speaking of LIV golf, Henrik Stenson, he's obviously been under scrutiny because he was the Ryder Cup captain, and he left for LIV golf, and then he ends up winning the third event, which was in New Jersey, and wins $4 million. I mean, we did this comparison before we got on air, and I kind of wanted to make that known, but Tony Finau took first place and won $1.5 million first place. And in LIV Golf, first place Henrik Stenson won $4 million. But the cool thing with LIV Golf is you're on a team, right? So you have 4 people. And Pat Perez, good for Pat Perez.
Great for Pat
he won, I
Perez.
believe, 250K just for finishing. I think he shot 4 or 5 over.
I think so.
And he still split $3 million between his 3 other team members. So the cool thing with this is that you could play crappy golf and you could still get a huge payday. Last place finisher for the Rocket Mortgage Classic won $16 million. Excuse me, 16.
If I could come in last and win 16 million, I'm doing something wrong in life.
$16,000 was the last place finisher who finished 1 under for the tournament. The last place finisher in LIV Golf for the third tournament was, I believe, plus. Of course, now it was plus 16, so 16 over par for 3 days.
I could do that in a day,
and won.
Not to brag,
and won $120,000. And again, this guy could finish last, and his team could finish first. And so, it's so wild. We're definitely going to talk about that a little bit more. But Henrik Stenson kind of gives a slap back in the face of the Ryder Cup for winning the.
Yeah, they took his captain.
Yep, Luke Donald now has replaced him, and he even kind of threw shade at Henrik, but Henrik just totally just kind of put his foot right down and won $4 million. So good for Henrik. I'm excited to see where this heads. I feel like they're trending in the right direction. We talked about this beforehand, but so many people kind of gave them a lot of crap, and you made a good point too. We didn't really know what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was like nobody had any information. Nobody could put anything in stone. It was all
really discreet. It was all quiet.
It was all just rumors. It's like, hey, this might happen. This might happen. And my big thing was until I see how it's going to work and how, if it's even real, I don't tend to believe things. Even with people jumping to LIV, I don't really believe it until I see that player say anything or LIV announces it. Because obviously, like we were saying earlier, Ricky, everyone's like, yeah, Ricky's going, Hideki's going. And neither of them that we're aware of have made that jump. Obviously, Bubba went, big Bubba Watson guy. But he said, hey, this is true, and then LIV welcomed him, but nobody said anything about Ricky or Hideki or some of the other names that have been rumored to jump.
No, I think most golf-related podcasts in my opinion, I think LIV's going to be taking over a lot of these podcast episodes, right? Because PGA Tour, I think, is in trouble. I think LIV is really doing the right thing on as far as they're offering their players contracts, which we've stated before the last episode. You're playing 3 days. You don't have to travel nearly as much.
Right.
James Hahn was just talking about that, and I'll actually pull that up here in a second. But essentially, he was saying that you're going from one state to a different country to another country to another country, and some of these guys make $16,000 to $20,000 in one tournament, or it might get cut.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee that you're making money unless you're sponsored by some sort of clothing brand or equipment brand.
Stuff like that.
Where these guys now, you can finish last, but you almost kind of take that stress right out of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like from my opinion is most of these golfers have the talent. It's all up in their head.
Yeah.
And if they can take some of that away, it might help them be a better golfer, a better person, better player. So.
Well, and we were talking before, my take on it is, to me, LIV is more, I don't want to say more fan-based, but it definitely feels like, if you're a fan of Dustin Johnson, especially in Minnesota, and your only chance to see him was at the 3M Open, but you only have tickets to go on the weekend, he always got cut before the weekend so he could leave.
I love that take. I think it's genius.
So say you have a 10, 11, 12-year-old, and you're like, man, I love Dustin Johnson. I love, blank, blank, and blank. And they're all on the LIV. You can see them for the entire tournament now. And from a fan's perspective, isn't that what you want to do when you watch golf? You want to see, your favorite player play the entire tournament. So I guess for me, if you're looking at a perspective where, maybe you just want to watch it, I'm more apt to watch LIV because you're going to see everybody play. They might shoot 10 or 15 over, I shoot 10 or 15 over. I don't have an issue watching that. Like as long as I'm not watching myself play, I don't really care.
Right.
But I just feel like from a fan's perspective, the fans shouldn't get mad at this.
There was a gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he was kind of doing a first take of like what his experience was as far as covering the Live Golf event, this third event, because he didn't cover the first two. And the one thing that he did say is that so like in the pro-ams, they obviously didn't have many people because it was at Trump's course. So that as far as Donald Trump, they didn't want to have a lot of people around.
Right.
But
makes sense.
right. But it's a shotgun start. So it is a little bit different, and they have done a good job, but you're not every player starting off at hole one, and then you can kind of follow those groups. So that would be a little bit of an interesting thing. You kind of you might have to jump a little bit.
Yeah.
But like you said,
or you could sit at a hole and literally see every team
come around.
That'd be neat too.
Absolutely. I mean, I know we talked about it again beforehand, but like I watched a little bit of it on their website and on YouTube, and you could even some of those holes you could hear the music like bumping, like it just sounded like a good time. And I know some people are totally against that, and you know what? We play music when we go golf, and we love it, and we respect people that don't enjoy it. But for us, we love it. I think it's just a cool way to grow the game in a different way.
That's why I just feel like this is like from a fan's perspective. Like I just feel like they're doing a way better job than the PGA did or does or whatever. But like that's just kind of how I feel about it, especially now seeing it go on for 3 events. I think they have like a legitimate product here that I think younger fans are going to gravitate to, which I've always felt like the older people tend to like the PGA a little bit more, which I guess as Jordan would say, it's the stuffy stuff.
Well said. Yeah, Jordan, the stuffy stuff.
The stuffy stuff. Well, he always says the stuffy brands.
For sure.
Jordan from Odin.
Shout out Jordan.
Jordan, love you, dude. I'll give breakfast burritos one day, eventually, someday.
Yep.
I don't know.
The Safe Bar Golf Podcast is brought to you by the Nuke Factory at Odin Golf. Losing and donating expensive golf balls adds up very quickly. The crew at Odin Golf has engineered premium balls for every player type. They're critically acclaimed, USGA approved, and top 10 on Amazon. The best part? With Odin, you never have to dent your wallet. We love the Odin darts at Save Par, and also believe going balls out shouldn't break the bank. Reload without the guilt at odingolf.com. That's odin-golf.com, and use code SAVEPAR for 15% off. Odin Golf, ready to go balls out?
Just like from a fanfare, though. Like, I guess if you want to watch JT and Rory go at it, by all means, go watch the PGA. But if you're a bigger fan of, guys on the LIV, you're going to have a better time watching it.
Do you think like Happy Gilmore 2 will be filmed during a LIV event?
That'd
Instead of the
sick.
Waterbury Open, it's the LIV like Open of some sort.
Like the one in Chicago or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be sweet. Well, I mean, even John Daly's like, lives a party.
He should be the face of it.
He said that he's like lives a party and I live to party. And I was like, genius. Sign the man. Why is he
there though? That's the question.
Well, I mean, he's old.
There's plenty of old golfers that he's an exciting for a lot of younger generation people.
Oh, for sure.
People love John Daly. I'm kind of mind blown that he is on LIV Golf.
Although I wonder if they've asked him and maybe he wants to play with his son more. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know
because maybe he likes to do those PGA events with his son, and maybe they wouldn't allow him to do that if he went to LIV. I'm not sure.
That guy can hit a ball. Just say John Daly, obviously we know, but his son,
his son is like the spitting image. It's wild.
Have you? So the good guys.
I watched that. Yeah.
Did you? So I didn't completely finish it yet, but I started watching it the other day, and I mean every shot that I seen John Daly Jr. hit, it was his hat flew off because he swung so hard.
Yeah.
But he seems like a good dude, and again, he hits the ball.
He seemed like he just genuinely had fun, and like obviously, like with good, it's all about them having fun, stuff like that. It seemed like he was just there to really like just have fun playing golf.
But he could rip a ball.
Oh, he could tear the.
But I am kind of curious on that because I think JD is the perfect golfer player for this person for this league. I mean, he literally represents almost everything.
Yeah.
For LIV, but again, we'll see. You never know. Time will tell. He might be there sooner than we know it. He might already be there. He just, it's hard to say.
Maybe, yeah. No,
there's so many.
I would imagine maybe there's something like where the PGA wouldn't let him do those tournaments with his son because I he seems like someone who just really enjoys playing with his son over anything right now. At least from what I've noticed, it just seems like he gets more joy out of his son than he does just playing alone anymore. So maybe there's something along those lines where the PGA is like, well, if you go over there, you can't play this event anymore. Which I wouldn't. I would imagine the PGA would do that, just kind of seeing how they're handling everything.
I'm on Liv's website.
It looks really good.
Very good.
Their website looks really
The
nice.
one issue I have is where's the shop now? Where's the merch?
Oh,
There's no merch, dude.
maybe you have to like go to the tournament. That's how they get you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen like little merch shops like at the tournament, like on
Yeah.
like some people post like an Instagram reel or something like a walkthrough. But they need to have a merch shop. I'm sure they would sell plenty of gear.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy any, but I also don't have any PGA gear either. I'm just not
True.
that type of person.
But if you went to like a tournament, you could have like the logo with like the golf course.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Kind
yeah,
of like the 3M Open, for
yeah.
example. Um, but yeah, they don't have anything about merch. So we'll probably touch base again, Live probably for a little bit down the road. But I wanted to answer a couple of the questions that we had. We sent to post
I think
both
we
of
have
us.
what, like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think you had I had like nine. Or actually, I had a couple more that came through.
Let's say I answered one. Shout out to Backnines Only.
Yeah, I was
Good
gonna
dudes.
say, uh, funniest thing you've seen on the golf course. This is funny because it happened just a couple days ago, and my buddy and I were. It was kind of a last minute ordeal, but we were. It was just us two. We were playing by ourselves. However, we were stuck behind a group of four dudes that literally just wanted to get freaking annihilated. Which
Hammered.
good for you, I guess. You know,
That's what day was it?
it was Sunday.
Oh, that's a good
So
way to do
they
your
they
Sunday.
they were having a good time. Let's just put it this way. So anyway, hole 17, it's 120-yard par three, and it's a blind shot. There's a bunker right in front of the green. You can see the flagstick, but it's a big green, but you can't really see if you hit a hole in one. You would have no idea because the
Right.
bunker is so big. But in any case, we're waiting to tee up, and we see one of the guys. We don't. I don't see him. Next thing I know, I see a club come flying and it pegs the dude straight in the back. I mean, I don't think he was trying to do it on purpose, but he literally hit him right in the back perfectly. Next thing you know, he dropped right to his knees down for like 10 minutes. I mean, the pace of play was terrible. So I will say again, I don't drink when I'm on the golf course at all. I just not that I'm knocking that, but sometimes it can definitely
Yeah, dude.
slow the
Plays a toll. Yeah.
absolutely. But the dude was like totally fine because he had at least 13 or 14. So like he
Hmm.
didn't even feel it. I mean, he felt it, but like he got up and was able to finish.
Yeah.
But it was just the funniest thing because the dude threw this club so far, and I don't think he meant to hit him, but it just hit him perfectly in the back, dropped him right to his knees, and ended up down for the count for a little while. So that's probably the funniest thing I've seen on the course recently. Um, I don't want to say it was funny, but we didn't even talk about this on our trip because it's still in my bag.
Oh, you broke my 7-iron.
Well, we both broke it.
No, 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 no.
You didn't put it in your bag.
I was gonna hit it again.
Anyway,
Why would I put it back in the bag just to pull it back out of the bag?
well, that's what the bag's for. So
No, the bag is
let's
to
just
hold my
explain
beer.
this story for the record. Let's put it on the record
The
because
bag is to hold my beer in the golf.
no. All those are also, but
Very important.
so we were playing. This was a couple weekends ago when we were at our golf trip, and it was a really cold. It was the day itself was crappy, really windy, super cold.
We broke my 7-iron the day before, though, when it was nice and warm.
Was it?
Yes.
I thought it was
No, no, no.
no, it
It
was
was
the
at Giants
last day.
Ridge.
No, it was not on Giants Ridge.
Yes, it was.
No,
Yes.
no,
I was there.
it was not on Giants Ridge.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, because I held it up to one of the, because the other card had 2 dudes in it. There were only 3 of us when we played the Wilderness.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, because I could have used it when we played the Wilderness, and I didn't
I
have it.
almost bet money that it was.
I will happily bet money.
Because I remember I had my Red Bull early in the morning. It was like hole number 3 or 4.
No, it was the back 9 at the Wilderness.
You're really gonna have to.
I can tell you the hole.
What hole was
I'd
it?
have to look at them. It was a longer par 4 because right along the right side was a cart path next to that hole with the big bunker that I got stuck in with the big tree in the middle of it.
I'm seriously thinking it's Sunday. It was
No,
Sunday.
it was Saturday.
I did not have that iron in my bag on
Yes,
Saturday.
you did.
No,
Yes, you did.
no.
Yeah, it's my freaking club.
Yeah, that you broke.
No,
So okay, so anyway, let's just agree to disagree. He says Saturday, I say Sunday. In any case, we were golfing, and Dom hit his 7 iron.
I'm gonna get a witness.
And what happened next was, well, Dom kept the 7 iron in his hand.
I had it in my hand, and then I was sitting in the cart, and then before I knew it, the cart was moving.
This is a hot take, though, because for the people that are listening, I would love to get your insight on this. Regardless if it was Saturday or Sunday, if somebody takes a club and sits down,
I wasn't sitting down though.
oh, you were down.
No,
I would not take off if you were.
You were on your phone.
Probably making a post, but for the record, though,
Honestly, I think you're talking to the wife.
Was I?
Probably.
Could have
because it was on Saturday afternoon.
I would have never taken off though if you weren't sitting.
I wasn't even sitting down yet. I was about to, and then before I knew it, I was like, "Ooh."
Okay, let's say he was standing, half sitting, and I think he was sitting, and I got a little pedal crazy, took off, and next thing you know, the head of the 7 iron hit the ground, and the shaft just kind of completely bent. And then I decided to go Hulkmania on it.
Yeah,
just finish her
off. Yeah. You're like, "Hey, I can fix it," and then you put it back, and it snapped in half.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, metal once it gets bent, it's kind of done so. But I'm gonna get it replaced.
I remember because it was warm and sunny, and then I cried.
I'm pretty sure it was not warm and sunny, which was crazy because Saturday was warm and sunny.
That's why
Sunday was completely freezing cold.
Yeah. No, it was Saturday.
I honestly don't remember it being Saturday.
Yeah, because it was the back nine.
Are you sure? Because I vividly remember Sunday already kind of I was already kind of cranky because
well, that's
because you were mad because it was early, and I love early. But not only that,
I was mad that it was early.
You were already upset. We were both kind of on a rocky road on Sunday morning. Not only that, the starter, the lady, said that it was cart path only in the par threes, which is a given. That's always how it is.
Duh, especially at that course.
Right. And then you get to the first hole and we both hit one in the fairway. And next thing you know, we're driving down the fairway and there it goes.
The cart dies. Beep, beep.
Well, yeah, it's beeps at us telling us we got to back up because it's cart path only. So
if it's cart path only, how would you drive over the head of my 7 iron? Think about it.
Because you teed off, it was a par three. So you hit a par three, you hit a 7 iron, and you had the club in your hand.
But how? Because you would have to do it on the cart path.
Maybe it was a par four.
But it was cart path only.
Well, for the most part.
No, everywhere.
It was. But I mean, there were certain times where we were able to.
It was Saturday.
We're going to figure this out.
It was Saturday.
But in any case, again, Sunday was, I'm pretty sure it was
because I couldn't.
Sunday, I thought it was just a bad mood. Like,
I was fine when we started because I started off like, I was playing bogey golf the first 9.
I was more like upset that the weather sucked, but not only that, like that whole cart path only thing crap sucked because
that's a big course.
Is huge.
It's a big course.
I mean, the first hole is a 600-yard par 5, and it's 2 fairways, so it's like it's forgiving. Yeah. It's forgiving, but the wind is right in your face, and then you cart path only.
I didn't do an adequate job preparing you. Like I told you, the first one's a beast. I didn't tell you that the rest of the course is a beast.
It wasn't even that. Like I actually really enjoyed the course. The downside is I've told you this a few times that I feel like it's been one of the top rated public courses in Minnesota. I didn't feel that way because I didn't get the best experience, and it wasn't your fault, and it wasn't their fault.
No, it was windy and rainy. Yeah.
And they had a really bad with the winter with the greens. Oh, that was really crappy.
It was frozen up there till like mid-May.
Right. So I love Giants Ridge, and I would have loved that course too. It just didn't really start off the right way because again,
you ran over my 7-iron
on Sunday. We could go in circles, but in any case, that was a pretty funny story. Granted, it wasn't really funny right away. It was more like, what the hell happened? I didn't even realize it happened.
Yeah, so I was about to sit down, but I was kind of looking at something because I was figuring out what the other 2 were doing, which is how I know that it was Saturday.
I don't know, man.
Because there were only 3 of us.
That's Dom's Sunday. I'm going to say he sat and I took off.
So I was looking at what they were doing because they were like goofing off or something. So before I know it, you had like pushed the gas and then I was like in the cart when I wasn't prepared to be in the cart.
Okay.
Which I'm not mad. It's like a $20 fix.
Yeah,
I don't know how much shafts are, to be honest.
we'll get it taken care of regardless. But it was, I mean, obviously it wasn't funny at the time, but it was more like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, I guess like for me being funny, I've broken a few clubs. I think I've broken three.
Yeah, we've had this discussion beforehand.
I've
This
had
is like number 4. You maybe something like there's some juju going
well, I
on.
didn't break this one. I've broken two drivers and then I broke a 4-iron. The 4-iron story really pains me because I was playing golf up north and I thought I was on moss. I was not on moss.
You're on a rock?
I was on a rock and I didn't hit the golf ball very well, so the head went farther than the golf ball, but the head went right into a pond.
See, that's a nice thing. We still have the head and the
in your
shaft
bag
in the bag. Yeah,
Saturday.
from Sunday. One of those 2 days.
I remember it was Saturday.
You could be totally right.
No, I am right.
I just I am
right.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
I am right.
Did we take a picture of it?
No.
We should have
because then we could look at the
totally
date.
document it. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll.
No, I couldn't because you said, "Here, give it to me. I'll fix it," and then you broke it.
To fix it. All right. Well, changing subjects. Someone sent a cool message saying like, "How good are Japanese brands?" And we kind of looked that up, and so
there's some big Japanese brands.
There are, yeah. Dom, go ahead and take it off. You remember?
Oh, I thought you wrote it down.
I did. Mira.
Is it Mira?
I think it's Mira.
Mira, Mizuno. I thought, to me, the interesting was I had no idea that Strixon was Japanese.
Yep.
And then the one that I can't pronounce, it's all X's and O's.
And then Hanma.
Hanma, yeah.
Hanma's the ones that are
like they're expensive,
$4,000 to $5,000 and up for a driver.
Yeah, which I mean, I have a Mizuno 5-wood. That thing feels pretty good. I mean, I don't know if you ever played with Mizuno or anything, but
my uncle plays Mizunos. He loves them.
I've heard everybody who plays Mizuno loves them.
Yeah.
I know actually a few of the good guys play Mizuno. I know they're sponsored, obviously, Grant and
Garrett.
Garrett. Yeah. I don't know why I blanked on his name. I want to call him Ben. It's not Ben. No. I don't know. They're sponsored by Mizuno, but that's not the point. I've heard that, like, from a quality standpoint, they're top notch.
I hit my uncle's irons before, and I wasn't a huge fan. But again, I've also hit TaylorMade irons, and I wasn't a huge fan.
That's
so it's more or less as a personal preference. So I've only not knocking Mizuno because again, I've heard nothing but great things.
I've only really dealt with them like in the running industry. Like their shoes are known for being just tanks, but super comfortable.
True.
So if it's like that, their golf clubs. Like I said, I've only hit my 5-wood, and I really like that club. But I guess from my experience, I like Mizuno and the Japanese brands. I mean, we played Strixon balls. Yeah, they're pretty good.
I was gonna say the other interesting was Strixon, which we kind of looked up, and Brooks Koepka. He just signed
not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long. It was in this last year, and then Hideki Matsuyama,
which I didn't know,
which is really cool. You'd mentioned how it's a Japanese brand.
Yeah, with like the biggest Japanese player right now,
probably of all time.
Probably, yeah. I mean, he won a Masters, yeah.
And then they have Inbee Park. They have a couple of other. They actually have a lot of other golfers. So shout out to the Japanese brands, Hanma. Again,
I have a witness saying it was on Saturday.
You do have a witness?
I do.
Okay, so he has a witness. Does he have a witness saying that you were sitting down?
No, because they weren't paying attention to what I was doing, other than I held up my club and it was crooked. It was like, have you ever seen like the lineman fingers?
No.
Like football players?
Lineman. Yeah.
That's what my club looked like.
Yeah, it's in 2 pieces. I have technically 3 7-irons in my bag.
Well, I mean, if we break yours, it should be 4 because you can't hit it.
Yeah, I can't hit it right now. My irons have just been, my driver been bombing it off the tee. Putter's been hot, and my wedges have been hot. Can't hit my irons. And normally
I can hit my irons.
I'm normally a good iron player. It's frustrating as hell. And I did get a Cobra Rad Speed 3-wood, which I'm still getting it dialed in, but it's so hot off the face. It's just more or less controlling my rights and lefts, hitting it straight.
Ankle and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think my next club that I'm going to actually purchase is probably like a 3 or a 4 hybrid.
I have a 4 hybrid. I like
I
it.
like that. Yeah. So I'm like kind of in between, like from my 3 wood to my 4 iron, but it's just, yeah, right now it's just more confidence for me. It's just getting my irons down. I'll hit some good shots and then just can't get dialed in, which again, it's kind of frustrating because I've been, that's kind of one of my go-tos, hit my iron shots pretty well. So
That kind of takes us to this next question.
I like it. What do we got?
So on mine, Chasing Aces asked, shout out Chasing Aces, friend of the pod, been on the pod.
Heck yeah.
Congrats on their first tournament, by the way.
Yeah, it looked like it turned out really good.
I'm super jealous we couldn't attend, but maybe next year we'll be able to
Absolutely.
attend. We can tear it up. Um, they asked which is better, a perfect drive that reaches the green or a long putt for par.
It's a good question. I posted something earlier or a couple days ago about would you rather hit a 300-yard drive down the fairway every time or stick a green from 125 yards? And this is a little different, but I love hitting. I don't hit 300-yard drives for the record, but I normally hit about 260 to 280 pretty consistently. But draining a putt and a save par, that's our name, right?
It is.
Save par golf, baby. I think I'd have to go with a draining a long par putt.
That's how I feel, especially since to me it's more impressive because if you can get on the green and give yourself any kind of shot, I'd be more willing to do that. Just because I don't really care if my drive reaches the green or not. If it does, great. Like I've been there, done that, but I'm still gonna like 3 putt for bogey. Been there, done that too.
I think we all have done that a few times, that's for sure. No, that's a good question, but yeah,
No,
I think saving par
yeah,
for
I like
sure.
that one.
Um, albatrosses. We are gonna have our buddy here on the podcast here soon. He also uh runs a podcast, A to Z podcast. Super excited to have him on. Hopefully, we'll have him on in the end of August. That's the plan. So we'll see. But he wanted to talk about albatrosses, and the reason why he wanted to talk about that, which we'll cover further down the road. But this guy has an albatross and an ace all in the same round, which is unreal. I would love to know what the stats are on that because that's just absurd. But we are definitely going to be talking about that here in the near future. Like I said, we're hoping to end of August. So Anthony, we are going to discuss that, and I want to know if you're still paying for those drinks.
I can barely get par, so I couldn't imagine an albatross and then a hole in one in the same round.
That's crazy.
I'd retire.
Absolutely.
I would never play golf again.
100%. Just you retire on top.
Yeah.
Frame the scorecard.
I would only play mini golf from here on out.
For that, you'd have to frame the scorecard and then frame the receipt
and
for all the drinks you're gonna have to
buy. And then get shadow boxes for each and every club in your bag.
Yeah, and then just call it quits.
Yeah, call it quits.
Absolutely, 100%. So again, we look forward to having them. That's the A to Z podcast. If you don't follow them, check them out. But Anthony, I like that. Albatross, way to go. That's unreal. We'll have you on the podcast. Hopefully, like I said, end of August. That's the plan. And then.
So I have another.
Yeah,
one.
what you got?
I actually have two more, but we're just
throw them your way.
Golf Center, they're newer to us. I've been talking to them a little bit.
Sure.
They wanted to know the most underrated and hidden gem golf courses. So I think you and I have the same answer. Although with that look on your face, I think we're gonna have different answers.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
So for me, we gotta give it a for Bull Rush.
Bull Rush is a hidden gem.
Hidden gem,
which is weird because it's you'd think so. It's not a hidden gem because it's on a main freeway.
Yeah,
but nobody really. They just kind of look past it.
I've driven by that golf course every day going up to my cabin for the last like 20-something years until I knew what we were doing. And then, bam, we had a tournament there and it was great. But I got to give it up to Bull Rush. I don't know what you're going to say. But for me, if we're talking about hidden gems, Bull Rush.
Bull Rush is definitely a hidden gem. The one knock I have on it is for somebody who's never played it before.
The layout's a little goofy,
which we've kind of dissected
it's
before.
Fun, though.
It is. It's a great course.
It makes for a fun track that's different.
100%. I would say I like Victory Links, and the only in that
is that really a hidden gem though? Is that really underrated?
The only reason why I say it's a hidden gem is because I played golf for a long time and I never went there, and the only reason why is because I always thought it was designed for the youth. So I never went there, and I didn't realize that Victory Links is like one of the longest courses around the area, but they have like 7 tee boxes. So their whole idea was like kind of grow the game for the youth. So I didn't realize that. I thought it was just like a smaller course. So I didn't know that but realistically, no, it's not a hidden gem. I mean, that's where they qualify for the 3M Open.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really hidden, but before I started really like getting obsessed with golf, I never thought it was like anything special. Right. So that's kind of like my take on it, but I would say Bull Rush and Victory Links for sure.
Bull Rush, sure.
Yeah. That's Minnesota, of course. We haven't obviously played all over the place, but in the Midwest area.
Yeah, it's hard to give you one like in the U.S. because we haven't played everywhere. I've only played in Minnesota.
But we talked about last week. If you want to go to the Huron National Forest in the middle of nowhere, go to Forest Dunes. It's crazy hard, but it's unreal, and you'd love it.
Yeah, you get to play barefoot.
Play barefoot, yes, absolutely. I like that. That's a good question. And hopefully, what we'll do maybe next week is we'll before we record, send a message out again in the story and see if we can get people to respond to like what is like a hidden golf course that maybe nobody really knows about that really enjoys all over the United States or over the world. So we can maybe plug that next time.
Yeah, we have like
so people that are all over the place. Yeah,
we could get a list and then we could rank it in order of like how badass they look.
Because I would say a hidden. I don't even know if it's hidden either, but Greyhawk in Arizona. That's where they hosted the NCAA national championship
golf thing. Yeah.
It wasn't the number one thing that popped up on Google, but once you found it, it had like 4.8 stars out of 5. And it was really fun. I actually really liked that course. So that was Greyhawk, and that was there's 2 courses. I think it was Raptor, because I think Talon was closed. So
Raptor sounds like it's a sick course.
It was a super sick course. So that would be my hidden gem in Arizona, Scottsdale, if you're out there. Somebody said motivation for putting practice. Like what motivates you to get out of practice? Do you have anything that you suggest?
So what motivates me is not being able to putt. And like I think I'd like to be good at putting because I'm only really good at leg putting. And if it goes in, it goes in. That's kind of my mentality. I don't practice putting nearly enough, and I very well know that. And I know you've yelled at me before. Not yelled, but like you're like, Dom, you should really. And I was like, no. I should probably practice putting more.
I feel like putting is probably the hardest thing for people because you wouldn't think it's very difficult.
For me, it's hard to practice because then you kind of practice and it's not even like a simulated green. It's just kind of like here's a lump of grass with all these holes. I'd rather kind of practice on the green, or not like I'd rather practice like by playing 9 holes or something. Like going to an exact kind of workout, some kings, stuff like that. To me, that's practice. But I don't practice nearly enough.
What I might suggest, and I'm kind of guilty of this too, I don't practice nearly as much as I'd like to, but if you have a tee time at 9 a.m., show up at 8:20, 8:30. If you're not going to hit the driving range or anything like that, early. It's not that early. Show up a little bit early and just get a feel of the practice greens, see how they're rolling. Obviously, they're not necessarily going to be the same as the real 18 holes. They could be, but what I like to do is the one thing that's really helped me since I've been reading that Zen Golf Zen is I was so guilty of worried about my speed and the break, right? Because and I think a lot of amateur golfers are in that same boat. They look at the speed like, well, I got to hit this hard, but then it's breaking this much. And the one thing that I've switched up is I've tried to visualize how I want to see it drop in the cup. And it has helped me improve. I mean, I played on that tournament not too long ago, and putting was one of my best things that I played. It was part of my best game, and normally it's not. Putting is probably my weakest part of my game. But so when you're up there and you're reading a green, instead of reading the speed and the break, more or less try to almost visualize. So like for example, if you ever remember like Tiger PGA Tour, the Tiger 2005 video game, and you got the Tiger Vision.
Okay, how old do you think I am?
Well, I'm for the listeners, just in case,
because when that game came out,
you were 8.
I was 8.
You were 8 years old.
I was 8 years old.
So you're still in diapers.
Probably, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not old enough. Like I'm not that old.
Okay, but
so let's talk about like
okay,
2K
PGA
golf.
2K. Okay, 2K. Yeah. So you got the Tiger Vision. You still have the Tiger Vision in 2K.
That seems like it's Tiger Vision.
Tiger Vision was legit, right? So like you could only have it a certain amount of times. You hit the old bumper and give you the Tiger
Does it
Vision.
kind of show you like the topography type stuff? Or
Exactly.
The dips
It
and the
gives you
dives?
the exact line of what you need to aim to get into the cup.
Okay.
But you can only use it every so often.
Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of how I look at it. Instead of reading my line, reading the line and reading the speed, because if it's downhill, the whole point is like I want to see it just drop in the front edge of the cup. Or if it's uphill, you want to see it roll in the back of the cup. So you more or less, if you know it's going to break, instead of worrying about where it's going to break, it's more or less how you want to see it drop into the cup. It's wild, but honestly, it's helped me big time, and that was um, suggestions that they put in the Zen book. And if you haven't read it, Zen Golf is look it up. It's a pretty short read, but he does talk about going to the practice greens and there's certain techniques and um, tutorials and things like that that you can practice. So read into the book and see what you think. You probably find something that you really would like. So that's what I would do. But again, I am guilty of that too. I do feel that sometimes some courses that you play at, like Muni courses, for example, the practice green is totally different than what you're playing out there, and then it almost kind of messes you up.
Yeah, I feel like some of them are just flat with no real. I don't know if curvature is the right word.
Or break.
Break. Yeah, that's probably the better word.
Yeah.
I just feel like some of them are flat, and it's just like
it doesn't have any of the undulations.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't really feel like I'm practicing anything other than hitting the ball with my putter, which I can just do at home.
No, I totally agree. It depends on where you're going, but try that. If you're into that, I think just feeling how you seeing yourself drop the putt in the cup and how you want to see that has helped me a lot. So
I know you got a few more replies. I only have one more.
What you got?
So Rhino34 asked, how often would you golf if knowing that no one would join you in a round and play alone? It's worded kind of goofy, but basically, how often would you play alone knowing nobody else would join you? I play alone all the time. I think that'd be great. Just me, myself, and I.
It's kind of a loaded question. Is like, are they not golfing with you because?
So I think so. I am interpreting it as if you can golf alone, just to golf alone. You know, like you don't have to have that random added to your group of just you. How often would you golf alone?
All the time. There's
all the time.
Nothing wrong with playing the golf. Pop a little headphone in.
Put a headphone in, kind of work out some kings. You know, you kind of work on whatever you're working on. You play 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls.
Absolutely.
No, dozen balls.
You're right. No, I mean, I would obviously much more play with people or friends, and I like getting paired up with random people nowadays. Before I didn't really care for it, but now I do because there's just so many cool stories and unique people that you meet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing wrong with playing by yourself. I think that's actually a good way to get your confidence back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, plug in some tunes and swing away, and you don't have to worry about people watching you or anything like that. You're just kind of playing your game. You're in the zone.
I've done it just to learn the repetition and what it kind of feels like to hit the ball correctly. Like with our little vacation golf trip we went on, I didn't really care what I shot. I just wanted to kind of get the repetition of, you know, hitting a 3-wood consistently straight or, you know, hitting irons consistently, just kind of that feeling. I like to do that if I play alone. I'll go play like a 9-hole course, just kind of work through things.
For sure. I got a couple more too, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. But craziest thing on the golf course that you've seen? We've talked about this once before.
Yeah, we saw that dude have a heart attack. We were at the driving range warming up, and then before we know, there's an ambulance on the green. Not on the fairway.
Yeah, in the fairway.
In the fairway, rushing, and we were like, oh.
But the crazy thing is that the person that guy was with saved his life.
Yeah.
He actually was the one that performed CPR until the paramedics got there. Crazy wild stuff. I mean, I live downtown Minneapolis. The fire department and the ambulance go crazy all over downtown. But we were in a suburb, and I mean, you don't ever see an ambulance drive in the middle of a golf course.
No.
And the fact that he lived was
I've thought about this a few times. Like, if you were to go down, I don't know, do CPR, but I'd have that Office scene in my head where it's you do the Bee Gees, staying alive, staying alive,
staying.
And then I for sure like get too caught up in that, and then you'd probably die.
Well, that's not good.
Or it'd end up cutting your face off and wearing it like a mask.
Like, that's creepy. But Dwight is probably my favorite all time. character in any TV show.
I'm not a big Office guy.
I know.
Give me Parks and Rec any day.
I like Parks and Rec.
I'm definitely Donna.
Donna is the
bigger lady.
Oh yeah.
She drives a Mercedes.
Yeah,
and like half of her personality is the fact that she drives a Mercedes.
Yep, exactly.
Love Donna.
See, Parks and
Treat
Rec.
yourself.
Parks and Rec. The first time I watched it, it was okay. I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it was okay. But second time I watched it, I enjoyed it much more.
I've watched it like 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it the second time I watched it through because it is actually a really good show. But
I just feel like it's as dry as The Office.
No, it's not. Yeah, the humor's totally different.
Yeah,
but it's still really good.
Yeah,
it's got a good plot too. Odin Golf Jordan. Latest favorite food dish at home. Now I did kind of expand that and said at home.
He would ask that.
He would. He's all about the food.
It's always food and breakfast burritos and the pops.
And the pops.
Gotta have the pops. Gotta have the pops.
So I expanded it and I went at home or a restaurant. I am going to give my wife a shout out because she did make homemade flautas with homemade Mexican rice the other night, and she went above and beyond.
Are those the things I mooched off you that are like taquitos?
Yes,
those are bomb.
They are
shout out your wife.
Yeah, she did this a second time and homemade salsa. She even made 2 salsas. One that was hot and then one that was extremely hot.
You might not see one in the fridge tomorrow morning. I might go home with it.
It was really good. So shout out to my wife. Flautas, if you haven't had them before, you're missing out. But look them up. They're basically like, would you say taquitos?
It's like a taquito without like the filling. It's like
a shredded chicken basically.
Because I think taquitos normally have like the sauce and like the cheese in it.
Yep. So typically what you would do is it's a shredded chicken tortilla and you essentially fry it, and then you would put like a sour cream and lettuce on top of it, and then salsa. You know me, I'm a little picky, so I just straight up go with the rice, the flauta, and then put salsa on it and then eat it that way. So I skip out of the lettuce and the sour cream, but that's probably been my favorite dish lately. So if you haven't had one, check it out. I will say another awesome dish is a Salvadorian dish, and it's called pupusas, and it's very good.
I've heard of those.
They're really good. You can get them all sorts of different types, but they're basically like a kind of like a thick tortilla with like queso cheese in the middle. Some of them have beans and all sorts of other things, but look those up. It's a really good dish. What about you?
I've been trying not to like eat out as much, and like with my work schedule, I usually don't like get to like sit down and eat with my family. Which now that we do anyways.
But you did have a salad with some noodles today.
That was wild. I didn't.
That is kind of weird on a salad.
So I thought it was gonna be like the crunchy chow mein noodles.
Yeah,
and boy, did they throw me for a loop.
You had the ramen noodle instead of the lo mein chow mein noodle.
I will say my favorite thing I've been eating lately is from Zupas. So if there's a Zupas in your area, they don't sponsor me, but they should because I love Zupas.
You always get Zupas.
Zupas is great.
It's pretty good.
They have a Korean barbecue sandwich. It has like Korean beef, watermelon radish, cucumbers, and then like some kind of sauce on like a ciabatta bun. And it's honestly like might be my favorite thing I've had recently.
So when you get it though, because normally like it's kind of like a Panera, almost like where you get to pick 2, right?
Yeah, so I do the pick 2. So I'll get like half a salad, a sandwich, and then you get a roll. And then a chocolate covered strawberry.
You get a lot of food for the price, though.
Yeah, it was like, because I had to spend an extra $1 on the sandwich. So I think in total it was like $13.
See, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not to knock Panera because I like Panera mainly for their chili. I'm actually.
Have you had the Wendy's chili?
No.
Wendy's supposed to have really good chili for a fast food place. Yeah.
See, I'm a Panera. Like their mac and cheese is good too, but see, I love salads when I'm picking out my salad. Panera's like super expensive. So it's like you get 2 items, it's like $16, $17, and the mac and cheese is like a little cup.
Yeah.
So like if I'm gonna order Panera, I wait till the fall and I get their turkey chili, and I love the turkey.
I like their in the summer they have a salad with mandarin oranges and stuff, blueberries, pineapples, and like a poppy seed dressing that's super bomb. I'll do that, but yeah, Panera is expensive. Where Zupa's, I don't feel like it's as expensive. I'm still full, and it's still relatively healthy. Obviously, you can drench anything in dressing and make it unhealthy, but like I've had like salads where it's like avocados and stuff. So
I will take like one quick hot take before we always have to have a hot take before we get off the air here, but I'm a picky eater, you know that, but I've gotten a lot better with my food palate. However, I wish that most restaurants would offer a build your own salad. There's plenty that do. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that do. Like Panera, for example, they have all these fresh ingredients. Why can't they let you offer a build your own salad?
You can at Zupas.
You can at Zupas. Okay. Yeah. See, I like that. That's what it should be because not everyone's gonna like every little specific thing, and you can still like take it without. But yeah, I would like where you can like build your almost like a build your own.
I think with Zupas you can do that. Pick two and build your own.
Kind of like the Tavern though. Tavern.
Oh, they have build your own.
Their salads are huge.
They have build your own burgers too.
But their salads are literally like you could share it.
Listen, if I'm going to the Tavern, I'm not getting a salad.
However, though, their salads are underrated.
I've heard they're really good.
They are because it's the same thing with the build your own burger. You literally have a sheet. You can start filling out everything. That's how it should be. Mm-hmm. You know, you have all these ingredients in the store. Why not just add it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
It's there.
It's there,
you can charge people.
Because now, like, you could have just totally missed out on a customer that's not even going to order anything because, like Panera, for example, I only order Panera in the fall because chili you normally don't get in the summer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Some people do in Dallas.
Weirdos.
It's apparently that's
people in Ohio put it on spaghetti. I have to.
That's added at least every 3 episodes.
Weirdos.
Speaking of that, we were talking about that. We're definitely gonna head out there and go golf with those guys.
Are we?
We have to at some point.
I told them we'd host them here too. And we'd go show them real burger place.
There we go. Yeah, maybe we can do a.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Send them to the Red Cow.
There we go. Red Cow's got some good burgers.
Oh, get the 60-40 burger.
We can do a we'll go out there, they come out here kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Show them that Minnesota's better.
Shout out Pinehurst 6. Pinehurst 6.
Even though there's like 18 of them.
Yeah. Just a whole freaking busload.
Basically, yeah. You have to get one of those big cargo vans.
Last thing I want to mention is we talked about it last episode, but we need to figure out somehow how to get a fast food restaurant chain on golf courses.
And it's going to be Taco Bell.
And
although I was thinking, because I had chicken nuggets last night for dinner, what if we had like a McDonald's and you could get like you get like nuggets and fries and a Coke? How bomb would that be? Like you're just like, man, this front nine sucked. Well, you know what makes this better? Chicken nuggets and fries.
You know, golf is growing so much that's like the downside on that is that obviously I don't eat a lot of fast food. However, like the stomach issue could be an issue for some people, right? Like I'm gonna have to hit the bathroom at a hole number 11 if I eat this. However, but what my thought was with the whole Taco Bell side is that the CEO of Taco Bell, we talked about this before, was the former CEO of TaylorMade. So we get him on board.
They're good. TaylorMade
Taco Bell little huts. You just have to pre-order it on hand. So pre-order it just like
you could set it up like in the golf cart where you'd be like, yeah, I want that.
How is that not a thing? Or McDonald's, like you said, who doesn't want a freaking ice cream cone in 90-degree weather when they're playing?
Well, I didn't even think about ice cream cone. I went straight to chicken nuggets.
But dessert too.
Well, chances are that.
I'm saying, why is this not a thing?
McDonald's is like their ice cream machine never works.
It does work. It's just a false freaking thing because somebody wants to make it.
We could switch McDonald's with Wendy's and get a Frosty.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Or Dairy.
Why is this not a thing? If a Dairy Queen little like Dairy Queen shaped cone like store was not just like plopped to like in between hole 18 and hole 9 where you could just get it beforehand and then get it on the turn.
Well, and then you could torture all the teenage workers by making them flip your ice cream upside down. One of my buddies worked at Dairy Queen, and he didn't do that. And I said, "Hey, you got to turn it upside down." And the glare he gave me, he was like, "Here," and I was like, "Thank you."
That's the Dairy Queen way, though.
Yeah, you gotta.
So we have to work on this because I feel like there is a missing piece in the golf course. Don't get me wrong; I'm not hating on the glizzies and the granola bars.
Would you say you're a glizzy gobbler?
I don't want to say I'm a glizzy gobbler.
I've heard people use that more and more.
That's just kind of it's
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know either because honestly, I don't know where the glizzy.
I don't know how that term originated.
Came from?
I asked, so I'm not super old. I'm 25.
You're getting there.
I had to ask my staff what that meant, like where glizzy came from, and they couldn't even tell me where.
I think it's a different region like just like we call it a hot dog. I think people call it glizzies because it depends on where you're from. So that's a good take though. Like where the hell did glizzies come from? Because I like the whole glizzy at the turn, but we would call it a brat or a hot dog, right?
Yeah, or a Polish,
Or
depending what it is.
yeah, exactly. So I think there's a missing piece, and I think we just figured it out. Like, why
Okay.
can't we have a Dairy Queen right
So
now? What do we got?
I googled where did glizzy come from because at this point, fuck it, we have to know. Uh, originated in America around Washington D.C. and Maryland DMV area in 2016, but it's slang for a gun. So how I do? Oh, right here. People in the DC area have long used the phrase as another title for hot dogs. Why is it always DC?
It's interesting that
Like
that's
it's
where it
never
came from.
like I feel like that's like a Florida thing or like an Arizona thing, but not like a
I
Washington.
would have never guessed Washington.
Like Washington DC. We can't say Washington because it's DC. I don't want to put
That's
the
true.
hate on
Yeah,
Washington.
that's true. Um, yeah, no, that's weird because I feel like so many people that we post stuff on, like it's all glizzies,
I
and I
think
was
it's
like,
a meme at this point.
yeah, I
I,
was
I
gonna say
think it's
that
for the
must be what it
memes.
is, but I'm telling you, a Dairy Queen, it would.
You have an Oreo Blizzard at the turn.
Could you imagine, like, you just shot like a 54?
And imagine, so you get plastered your front nine, right? You can sober up with a Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Or
You
you
get
could
even
be totally
drunker.
sober on the front nine and you shoot a 54 and be completely upset and you have a blizzard. You're like, dude, the whole round is just, the whole back nine is just my nine.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
yeah.
We need to have like an ice cream shop. You know what? Screw Dairy Queen. Let's just create our own friggin'
Do you know how to make ice cream?
Well, I mean, I know how to, but am I good at it? No.
I've never tried it. We could try to make it.
I'm just saying there's a missing link and there's like this misconception of like you have to order a hot dog
Even
or
better,
a glizzy.
we could Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots are okay too. There's something about ice
I'm
cream
not.
cone though.
Oh, I'm not a cone. I'm messy.
You like a cone?
I'm
Dude.
messy. Give me a cup.
Okay, so you're a cone in a cup or just ice cream in a cup.
So honestly, I love cones, but I have to be waffle cones.
Okay.
But I have
Do you
to.
still get it in a cup though?
No.
Okay.
If it's like a
You just
waffle,
have to get like 15 napkins. So
yeah, yeah, because it drips everywhere, especially playing golf.
that is true. There's that.
I'll get a cone if it's like a waffle cone. I don't like the normal cones because it's soggy, and then it's just like, well, this is a waste of a cone.
But Dippin' Dots are a good point too. It's
Yeah.
90 degrees out. Obviously, if you can't eat your cone fast enough, Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots.
You get them at like, remember back in the wave pool days back in my day, you go to the swimming
That's
pool.
exactly what I was thinking of. Fucker, you get the Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots, right? It's still 90 degrees. You still finish them. I think we're on to something. But in any case, another great episode. Episode 46 is in the books. We'll post on our story next week. Again, we want to maybe get your feedback on some hidden gems. Maybe we can even come visit them.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
Down the road. Yeah. Obviously. But and then we have a list of guests that we want to have on that we've already talked to. So we're just trying to get the dates all figured out. So we're excited to share those with you once we kind of get those set in stone. But again, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to chatting with you next week.